Climate talks, climate coalitions, climate pledges. These have become the usual dramas of the geopolitical theatre these days. Recently, the 28th COP, that is Conference of Parties to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, was held in Dubai. The UNFCCC, the main international convention to combat climate change, was signed in 1992 at Rio Summit held in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. The convention is signed by all UN members, and this convention acts as the parent convention to the Kyoto Protocol and its successor Paris Agreement. The original secretariat of this convention was in Geneva, and since 1996, it has been shifted to Bonn, Germany. During COP21, which was held in Paris in the year 2015, the Paris Agreement was adopted. The Paris Agreement is a legally binding international treaty and came to force in 2016. During COP24, that was held in Takeways, Poland, a rulebook to operationalize the Paris Agreement goals was introduced. In COP26 2021, which was held in Glasgow, India announced its net zero emission target by the year 2070. The last COP, that was COP27, which was held in Egypt, the parties agreed to establish a loss and damage fund which aims to compensate the vulnerable countries which was hit by climate-linked disasters. Now let us see what are the outcomes of the latest COP, that is COP28. The first and the most important is that the countries agreed to operationalize the L&D fund, that is the loss and damage fund. The World Bank will be the interim host for this fund for the next 4 years. The next outcome was the fifth iteration of the Global Stocktake text. This text is a periodic review mechanism to assess individual countries' contribution to mitigate the climate change, as well as what steps have they taken to shift to the renewable energy sources. During the summit, the developing countries also called on the developed countries to achieve negative carbon emissions and called them not just to limit into the net zero emissions by 2050. Now, by negative carbon emissions, it means carbon storage and carbon sequestration. During the summit, there were also parallel coalitions and alliances formed to combat the climate change. These include Global Cooling Pledge for COP28, Declaration to Triple Nuclear Energy, Coal Transition Accelerator, Coalition for High Ambition Multi-Level Partnership, that is CHAMP. India has not signed to these four mentioned alliances because India had taken a principled stance that India will not join any other alliances outside the COP process. India, being the Vishwaguru and the champion of fighting climate change, has introduced two new initiatives during the COP28. The Global River Cities Alliance and the Green Credit Initiative are the two important initiatives that are led by India. Talks after talks, meetings after meetings, promises after promises. But we have not witnessed any honest step from developed countries in order to help the developing countries to combat the climate change. The $100 billion per year, which was promised by the developing country during Paris Climate Deal negotiations, the developed countries had promised to contribute $100 billion per year to developing countries in order to fight the climate change cause. But we have not seen any progress in the same issue. Let's hope this COP, that is COP28, will not become a usual COP, that is a conference of fake promises. Thank you.
Amrita IAS Academy.